Vuyolwethu Zungula is the president of the African Transformation Movement, or ATM. He joins us now to speak about this. A very good evening to you, Mr. Zungula, and thank you so much for speaking to us. No doubt you are disappointed by this, but what did you have in mind when you wrote to the Speaker, and what necessarily did you base it on?
Evening, Tsepi. Look, for us as the ATM, we are going to send that substantive motion as required by the Speaker as early as tomorrow. For us, when we read that letter from the Speaker, we just saw it as a guidance that procedurally, this is what we need to do. We just need to send that motion tomorrow. And, you know, we expect that the Speaker indeed will, in accordance to the guidelines of Parliament, a Section 89 committee will be formed as she has advised, because what is important for us, firstly, this is a very, very serious allegations that have been leveled against the head of state. Secondly, Parliament is the only institution that can investigate some of the transgressions. Parliament can't, for example, investigate some of the transgressions relating to SARS, some of the transgressions relating to, the foreign currency and all of those things. But the transgressions in relation to the violation of the Section 83B of the Constitution, violation of the Section 96, 2 of the Constitution, those are the most important violations from our side that require Parliament to act.
Okay, so when you say you view the response as a guidance and you will not comply with the request for something more substantive, when you were doing it, was it shooting in the dark? Were you hoping that it might land? Because I'm looking at Section 89 and I'm just wondering, when you say you see it, did you not understand what it was saying?
Look, we understood perfectly. The only issue is that Parliament requires some of the communication between parties and the Speaker to be in a certain form, in a certain structure. They need to highlight certain, provisions. It's not a new thing. It is in line with how Parliament operates. You'll remember, even with our motion of no confidence, we sent it, and then the Speaker advised us, these are the things that we need to include. This is the structure of the communication. Okay. To us as a Speaker.
The reason I asked
it is the same situation even now, where the Speaker requires that we state exactly what we need to state in the format they want.
The reason I ask is that when you and I last spoke, you were saying you would ask the Speaker to compel the President, as per the requirements of his address of Parliament on a quarterly basis, to take the nation into his confidence and share with us what has happened with regards to the robbery and the processes thereafter. Section 89, subsection 1, speaks about the grounds and rules to remove the President in the face of a serious violation of the Constitution or the law, serious misconduct or inability to perform the functions of office. And when you had acknowledged that the President should be invited or compelled to, it was also with the understanding that legal processes were still underway, that he has not yet been charged. So then again, I ask, on what did you base that? Your request now of establishing...
There are two things. The first one is the Section 89 process, which we wrote separately. The other process was the Parliament has got rules that dictate that the President must come to Parliament in account or answer questions at least once in a quarter. Now, we said to the Speaker, because there are these serious allegations that the public and us as members of Parliament, we've been made aware of. We did not have the President come in this current term that is ending this week. Let the President come and utilize that opportunity to take the nation into its confidence and speak about, what is currently in the public domain. So those are two different issues.
No, I absolutely completely understand that, Mr. Zungula, and this is my point, that the one involves some form of cajoling, the other is based on substantive evidence that indeed a crime or inappropriate behavior has occurred, of which it would require the National Assembly a resolution to be adopted on at least 2/3 of the vote of members. And this would be, I'd imagine, on the basis of the recommendations. But the recommendations would have to be based on something. What I'm saying is the president has not yet been charged. So when you were making the suggestion that there be a committee established to investigate, was it with the hope that, or understanding that the president was going to be charged soon, or was it the belief that there is clear evidence that there is some criminality that has occurred?
It's not about being charged. It's about the prima facie evidence that is there that warrants Parliament to take action.
Okay.
I'll make an example. Section 83 of the Constitution states that members of cabinet cannot partake in paid work. That is what the Constitution is saying. The police will not investigate that. They do not have such mandate. Only Parliament can say this is what the Constitution is saying regarding members and the executive not being able to take paid work. You, Mr. President, in your own utterances, you've stated that you have taken part in paid work by selling animals, etc. Therefore, there is this transgression. So that is why from our side, we're saying the other law enforcement agencies will do their part. The issues that we're focusing on as the ATM are issues that are only relating to the capacity and the mandate of Parliament to actually investigate such transgressions, which is Section 83 and Section 92 of the Constitution. You'll also remember when Mr. Ramaphosa took over as a deputy in 2014, he said to the nation he's going to allow a blind trust to take care of his business interests. However, last week, he clearly stated that he's actively involved in business. So that is why from our side as the ATM, we saw that this is a transgression that only Parliament can investigate.
Okay, so the Speaker also equally said that in terms of the requirements that were not complied with in your submission, that there was no provision in the Executive Members Ethics Act for the referral of the National Assembly of allegations of breaches by the President. Do you disagree with this, and how would you argue as a rebuttal?
Sepi, the Parliament is supposed to play an oversight role over the executive. Now, what the issue is when it comes to the public protector is that, number one, the public protector, if a complaint is made against a member of the executive, a minister or a deputy minister, then it becomes the recipient of the report who needs to take action is the president. However, in this case, the president accounts to Parliament. Therefore, if there's any shortfalls or limitations in terms of the current laws, it is then that the Parliament must actually seek to strengthen our laws to say, this is what are the shortfalls. Therefore, let us include these certain elements so that we don't have a case whereby whenever a president makes certain transgressions, there is no legal capacity from Parliament to actually hold the president accountable.
So according to the rules, according to the Constitution, including the provisions in the Executive Members Ethics Act, is Parliament capacitated to take this decision on the basis of the understanding that the allegations against the president are unbecoming of somebody of his stature, to say, because you face... So is there something that when you write back to the Speaker, you say, according to this interpretation of the law, you are supposed to take this on the basis of the allegations against him?
Parliament, or the formation of the Section 89 committee, will lead to an investigation to be had. And once the investigation is had, it's only then that we are going to invite people to come forth with evidence, we are going to subpoena people and all of that. Now, based on that inquiry or that Section 89, then that 89 committee will make a recommendation to the House that in light of what the investigation has brought about, therefore the recommendation it is that the president must be impeached. For example, the issue of serious misconduct or violation or a serious violation of the law, that is what Section 89 is saying. That is why we as the ATM are saying, let Parliament be capacitated, let Parliament operate and play its meaningful role over playing an oversight role over the executive by being able to independently, review some of the allegations and not just wait on other people.
So you're saying basically in the spirit of the law. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Vuyolwethu Zungula is the ATM president. Meanwhile, the National Prosecuting Authority says it hasn't received any case for prosecution with regard to President Cyril Ramaphosa.